Alright, what is up, you beautiful people, and welcome back to another Commander Guide, and this time we will be talking about Mengsk. Let's get right into it. So here is the game plan for this video. We're going to talk about the hero abilities, we're going to talk about the strategy, we're going to talk about the units, wave placement, and finally we're going to have some gameplay. So buckle up, this is going to be a long and comprehensive video, so let's get right to it. By the way, if you guys are new here to my channel and you guys enjoy Direct Strike content, Direct Strike guides, I make these videos, not the guides, but I make Direct Strike videos every single day of the week. Guides come out around every 2 weeks. I'm trying to see the regular pipeline because I'm back to school right now. So maybe once a month I'll put out a guide, and I do weekly Brawl tier lists every single week. And I play a lot of weekly Brawl. So go out and check my channel if you guys have not checked it out already. If you like what you see and you want to follow, you know what to do. Drop that sub, and let's get right into it. So, Mengsk's passive abilities. So Mengsk has one ability, but to compensate, he has a large, a massive selection of units to choose from. And so Mengsk's single ability is Veterancy. So as of September 2020, I don't know if they're going to enact any changes because Mengsk has gone through a lot of changes, but I think this is probably the version that's going to be most stable. But Veterancy allows Mengsk to store EXP based on how much minerals he is earning. And when he has no Royal Guards that are training, that EXP is stored as energy on your sort of hero unit, so you'll see an energy bar building up, and you can use Veterancy on a Royal Guard that you have just purchased, and it will dump as much EXP as that unit can take until it hits max rank. And if it hits max rank, then it maxes out at level 3. And if you don't have enough EXP, it'll just use all your EXP. And the maximum EXP you can store is up to 10k. And trust me, you're never going to reach there, because if you haven't bought a Royal Guard and you're at 10k energy, you probably lost the game by that time, or you probably would have won the game by that time because you've been focusing heavily on aggro. And another thing I want to talk about is Mengsk's sort of his structure, which is also I guess it's like a complement to his ability, and that's the Earthsplit Ordinance. And this is basically from the co-op game. It's like one of the artillery cannons he can build. He can only build one of them. It's at tier 3, so it's very expensive to get to, and it costs 250 minerals to build. And it fires once every 20 seconds at some place on the ground, and provided there are enemies there, and it deals 100 damage. And it has 50 range. So it essentially has global range, I believe. Actually, no, I think it starts off with 25, and then if you buy Hemispheric Accelerants, it's an upgrade that gives it 25 more range. That'll basically make it global, and so you don't really have to worry about it hitting stuff anymore. And it's really useful against stacked enemies or enemies that don't move, so siege tanks, swarm hosts, things that sort of hide in the back, and also good against enemies that come in large numbers but are low in HP, because one blast from an Earthsplit Ordinance will likely kill those units. It also adds a bit more DPS to your wave. And I believe there's 3 or 4 levels of upgrades you can buy to increase its attack speed. And each of the levels are increasingly more expensive and increasingly less worth it. So the first level halves the time between attacks. So basically it doubles its attack speed for I think 200 minerals, which is really worth it. The next one is 300 minerals, and it reduces the 10-second bombardment to I think a 7-second bombardment, which is not as great. And then the last upgrade, I think, is 400 minerals and reduces the 7-second bombardment to, I think, a 5-second bombardment. It's still very, very expensive. And honestly, if you don't buy any of the upgrades, the only one you should buy is probably the first one, because it just doubles the attack speed, which is significant in and of itself. Okay, so let's talk a bit about Mengsk's playstyle here. So I think Mengsk is one of the most versatile commanders in the game. He's extremely aggressive, and he has a lot of cheap battle units. He has a lot of boys, and he also has some very high-powered specialized Royal Guards. And here in the bottom left corner, we got a meme of an Aegis Guard. Anyone who's ever used an Aegis Guard will know that that's exactly what an Aegis Guard does to the enemy. All right, so because of his versatility, I think he's very adaptable, and he's never really out of the game. And I think he has answers to basically almost every single commander out there. I would say probably his harder counters would be Zagara, and someone with access to lots of splash that deals very well with his very small units. So maybe even Stackbreaker Stetman would be very good. And if you guys haven't seen that video yet, be sure to check it out after you're done with this one. Okay, so let's meet the units. So first off are the boys. The boys being Mengsk's troopers, and this is the bread and butter of every Mengsk composition. Troopers cheap, expendable, and customizable. You should always have some amount of troopers in your wave. If you don't, because if you're just purely building Royal Guards, you're going to be sitting on a lot of money, and Royal Guards by themselves are not going to be good enough. You need to back them up with Troopers, and the basic Trooper, it costs 40 minerals, and it basically has, I think he has the stats of a Marine. He has like 45 HP, and 6 attack damage. And so he's also cheaper than a Marine. He doesn't have a stim pack, granted, and I think he has a slightly shorter range, but that's fine, right? Because you are just trying to spam these guys, and eventually you will want to upgrade them. And so the most versatile and universal upgrade is the LMG Trooper, which just costs 20 minerals to upgrade. And when you upgrade it, it goes from he does 6 damage normally, like the vanilla trooper, but it goes all the way up to 12 damage once you upgrade it to the LMG boy. So it's a very noticeable DPS increase. And so if you don't know what sort of trooper to buy, the LMG boy is almost guaranteed a must. Like, you have to have LMG boys in your wave, because they just add so much DPS to it. And it's only 60 minerals for like basically a Hydralisk without the health. Next, we also have the Flame Boy upgrade, which basically attaches the flamethrower and gives him 100 extra health and +1 armor. And you basically have a fire bat. It's basically a fire bat. So if you need fire bats, turn your troopers into Flame Boys. And then next we have the Rocket Boy. The Rocket Boy is a anti-air specialist. He has 10 range, which is insane. He shoots twice, and I think he does unupgraded. I think he does like 8 damage times 2, but versus armored air, he does 16 times 2. Which is actually ridiculous for a 100 mineral unit. He does 32 damage to air units. And he also has 10 range, so he's going to be safe, provided you have some front line to protect him. And he's very, very good at wiping out big enemy air units and like focusing them down if you protect them and keep them in the back. And he's also very good in conjunction with one of Mengsk's Royal Guards, the Black Hammer. And so yeah, make sure you protect these guys. Don't rely solely on Rocket Boys for your anti-air. You want to have some Rocket Boys and some Black Hammers. They're sort of meant to be an intermediary because they're just, at the end of the day, they're just way too fragile to be your primary anti-air. Alright, and now Mengsk also has access to a good amount of Zerg options. And good, I mean like 3 Zerg options. And of the 3, I think 2 of them are very good. And the last one is just like something we don't really need to think about ever. At least I never think about it. So the first 2 that are good are on the screen right now. We have the Lings. So Mengsk Zerglings cost 15 minerals, which I believe is the cheapest unit you can buy in Direct Strike, period. Like Stukov's civilians cost 20, right? Lings cost 15. And so for 15 minerals, you're getting 35 HP, which is a steal in terms of mineral to HP ratio. It's actually more than twice. Like for every 1 mineral, you get more than 2 HP, right? That's great. And because Zerglings you can buy lots of them, right? They will distract your opponent's AI, and it's very important that you build a Ling box when you play Mengsk, which is like you just outline your staging area with the border of Lings. I'll go over like wave placement in a bit, but for now, just know that Lings are very useful in that sense. And it's probably, I think, the best opener for Mengsk is actually just to have a line of Zerglings and you just run it forward, because it's just sheer quantity of units that you can send out. And next, the other very good one is the Ultralisk, which is unlocked at tier 3. But this is like a plain and simple Ultralisk. It's just 250 minerals for 500 HP. That's it. It's just stats. It's just stats. The Ultras don't have splash attacks, so they can't clear AoE waves. So you will have to get some Flame Boys to help them out. Usually your front line is going to be a combination of Lings, some Flame Boys, and some Ultralisk. And that'll be what your front line is going to look like. And now let's talk about the Mutalisk. So the Mutalisk costs 70 minerals, which is cheaper than basically all the other Mutalisks from other Zerg commanders. I think Abathur Mutalisk costs 85 and Kerrigan's cost 125. The problem is, because they have no upgrades, they don't have any bonuses to their splash, for example. For example, Abathur's Mutalisks do bonus damage to armored units, and I believe they can splash more, or they have no damage drop off on their splash, I believe. And then same thing with Kerrigan's, except Kerrigan's can splash 6 units, which is excellent, because your Mutalisks do I think they do 13 damage per hit, right? And if there's no damage drop off, that's great. But these Mutalisks have the damage drop off. They don't have any bonus damages. They clump up. They're squishy. They have all the bad things of the normal Mutalisk, none of the good things of the other Mutalisk. And I would personally say you never really need to buy them. Because if you want to buy them, you would probably be wanting to buy them to distract enemy air units. But you as you actually don't need to field air units to dominate the air as Mengsk, and that's because of your black hammers and because of your rocket boys. But we'll start talking about that like in conjunction later. And as well, Mengsk used to have a Hydralisk, but at 65 minerals, it was basically just a better LMG boy because it dealt the same damage as an LMG boy, had the same range, but had more HP. I think it had like 35 more HP. So you, as Mengsk, you would just buy Hydralisk and then never buy the LMG boy. So I think they got removed because I think Hydralisks were just never balanceable. So, I mean, that's fine. That's just like a little bit of developmental history. Okay, so let's talk about the Royal Guards. So I know there's a fat page of text here, but I'm just going to talk through it here. So the Royal Guards, you want to kind of treat them like they're Tychus heroes in the sense that you don't want to buy them randomly because you want to. You want to buy them because you need to counter something. And so you don't really ever want to spam them, ever. However, if there is a Royal Guard you want to spam, that I would suggest is the Aegis Guard. He is almost the cheapest Royal Guard, 450 minerals, and he probably has the highest anti-ground DPS potential of any Royal Guard, or as a matter of fact, probably like any unit in Direct Strike. That's why I call him the 7-second champion. So let's have a look at his ability. So at level 1, he gains a shield that just gives him 300 extra HP, and I believe at level 3, when he's fully ranked up, he has 800 HP, like including the shield. So he's pretty thick. And so when the shield breaks, it knocks back any melee enemies, which is great. It gives him some more breathing room against melee opponents. Level 2, he gets AoE Splash and a Cone whenever he attacks, and it does 20% damage, which is really great because you can couple it with this upgrade on the left, the Concussive Shells, that causes, he basically has an AoE slow. And that's pretty good. It's only like a 50 mineral upgrade as well, so highly recommend that you get it. And finally, level 3, he has a very, very powerful stim pack that gives him 200% attack speed for 7 seconds. And what that looks like is that he basically shoots like 3 times every second. And his attacks do 35 against normal units and 70 against armored units. And the best part is Mengsk's Royal Guards don't need any of the normal commander upgrades that you would normally buy. The upgrades that you would buy for weapons and armor would go towards all the units that I talked about beforehand. So his Zerg and his boys. But for the Royal Guards, they automatically level up, and when they level up, they automatically gain bonus stats to them. And so the uses is like, if you are building like a very aggressive bio, like just sort of Lings boys, LMG boys, you would want to complement that with Aegis Guard. If you're just trying to like end the game within like the first like if you want to end the game like under 8 minutes, you can just keep building Aegis Guards until your opponent's Nexus dies. But because of the nature of Aegis Guards being small, like small units, like in terms of size, they don't scale too well into late game, and they also have like short range. So I wouldn't recommend having too many of them. They still do a lot of DPS, but in the late game, that DPS kind of gets a little nullified just because of the sheer amount of units and how much damage they'll be taking. All right, next we have the Emperor's Shadow, which is at Tier 2. The Aegis Guard is the only Tier 1 Royal Guard. So the Tier 2 Royal Guards are beginning right now, and Emperor's Shadow is basically just like a ghost on crack. 525 minerals, very versatile spellcaster, but I want to say the Emperor's Shadow is outclassed, because I think like the things the Emperor's Shadow can do is really cool, right? So she has 2 abilities. So one of her abilities is the Pyrokinetic Immolation, which is the first one. It does 20 damage per second for 14 seconds in a small AoE, right? So it's basically a Science Vessel Irradiate, but very, very strong. I think, so here's the thing. This is I think this is a great ability against big units, like big biological units. Because against small bio units, like let's say like you're trying to hit like a bio wave of Marauders. Marauders have like 120 health. This will kill it in 6 seconds. Okay, you know what will kill Marauders faster? Your own Aegis Guard. Or if you drop it on Marines, right? Marines will die in like 3 seconds of this thing, and then it stops working, right? So that kind of sucks. But I think it might be useful against like a bigger unit, like a Dehaka maybe, something you can focus down. So I think it won't be too bad on something like that, but you would have to micro that for sure. And her next ability is just like an EMP Blast, which is drains 100 shields and all energy, and also stuns mechanical units for 1.4 seconds, and it also de-stealths enemies. So I think, if anything, the EMP Blast is probably the more important thing you could get her for. You can use it to stun, like, say, Swan Wraiths, for example, that are super squishy, and you can set up your Black Hammers better in combination. But I really don't think that's necessary, but I feel like that could be something you could do. And then with the minus 100 shield, it's like against Protoss, it's okay. Like, you can use it against Immortals, which already have a lot of shields, so it doesn't really matter. You can try to get it off against an Archon, but I think Artanis Archons just have a little too much range. However, if you are against any other caster, the Emperor's Shadow can easily like pop them. So you would definitely use this as a caster counter. So I wouldn't say like, I think Emperor's Shadow is still okay, but like for the mineral cost, I think she might be a little too expensive. That's my opinion. I don't personally buy too many Emperor's Shadows because I find that there's other better options to deal with them. But I probably just need to playtest a bit more. So for level 1, she gets an ability called Labyrinth Cloak, which is auto cast, and it's a 7-second undetectable cloak. However, she doesn't really use this as often as you would like. She might just take a lot of damage first, and then she'll use it, which is like not that great. Level 2 levels up her power kinetic blast so that it deals 30 damage per second now. And also, it doubles the stun duration of the EMP blast, which could be very, very lethal against mechs. Like a 2.8 second stun is basically just death. And then level 3 power kinetic blast deals 50 damage AoE if the target dies. So I think this might be a good argument for using it against just small groups of bio. But I just feel like if you buy the Shock Division, I feel like you'll get better returns. And we'll talk about the Shock Division next. And then so I think for uses, honestly, the Emperor's Shadow is just, you can use it as just to complement your wave with added utility. I don't actually think it's super strong. I think it's like pretty balanced. I think the EMP Blast, though, if you can make use of it, is definitely one of her more powerful abilities, especially at level 3 because it has feedback. So not only does it destroy shields, it also destroys health. If the units have energy. So definitely useful against like cloaking units that are casters. But other than that, I don't really think too much of the Emperor's Shadow. And next we're going to have, we have the Sky Fury up next. So this is the cheapest royal guard, and you must have a Sky Fury if you're facing anything that has massive as part of its like classification. Because at level 1, the Sky Fury gains royal munitions, which makes it do massive damage against massive units. Get it? So it, like, how massive is it? Well, it does like 100 damage to massive units in its ground form and its air form, except in its air form it shoots twice. So it actually does 200 damage to a massive unit. And massive units usually have like, say, like 1,000 health. I'm thinking like a Leviathan, Hyperion with 2,000, battle cruisers with 700, sovereign BCs with 900, right? 200 damage. In around 4 volleys, that'll wipe out most of the things that it's shooting at. Most of the things. And that's only with 1 Sky Fury. If you have 2 Sky Furies, massive air units just disappear. And massive ground units also disappear. You can get this against Dehaka. You should get this against Dehaka in the late game because it'll help shred through Dehaka's massive tag as well. Dehaka has like 2,000 something HP. But, if you have like 2 Sky Furies shooting at it for like 200 damage each, like it's going to cut through it. It's going to help, right? And then next, we have Tactical Realignment. So it gains 50% increased attack damage for 4 seconds after it transforms, which means that it does even more damage to massive units, which is excellent. And in level 3, it has 2 different modifiers. So if it's on the ground, it gains Phoenix Protocol. So where it's like, if it takes lethal damage, it gains 400 HP in shields, and then it becomes, like, for 11 seconds, and it temporarily becomes invulnerable. So it'll go back up into the sky with the shields, and then it might transform and come back down. So that's that. And if it's flying, it has evasive maneuvers, which makes it so it takes 40% reduced damage from enemy auto attacks. So it doesn't take reduced damage from spell casts, but it takes reduced damage from just like units attacking it. This used to be like 50% chance to dodge, but that was still ridiculous. So they changed it to just minus 40% damage reduction, which is still pretty good. It just basically gives it 40% more effective health. It has one upgrade, which is the Acer Turbine. It just makes it move faster. I honestly never buy these upgrades because I really don't see the point in having units move faster. I just feel like that just causes them to run in to the enemy faster and die. So I don't know. It's a waste of money. Probably don't get it. Maybe I need to play test it. We'll see. Next, we have the Shock Division. So this is the Siege Tank, the Master Stacker. And I want to say this is probably the best Siege Tank in the game, hands down. Like there's no contesting it at all. So why is that? So level 1, when you siege it, its attacks stun the unit hit for 0.7 seconds, which is pretty good. You can interrupt your opponents. You can protect the siege tank from enemy siege tanks, kind of, because it stuns. And so disrupts like some of the enemy damage. And at level 2, it gains +2 vision and attack range, which means it has 15 attack range. So it will automatically outrange basically every other siege tank in the game, besides Nova's siege tank. But Nova's siege tank needs time to actually tick up. So basically, hands down, like when you first siege up, Mengsk siege tanks are going to be the best ones. And level 3, the AoE attack is increased by 40%, and siege tanks, like, you know, you just want to do more splash, and more splash is great, right? And also, I want to say, like, level 3, the shock division actually has 600 health. It has 600 health. Nova siege tanks only have 400, so it's not only the tankiest tank in the game, it also deals the most damage, because it does 120 damage to armored units at level 3, and it does 70 damage to just basic chump units at level 3. So, still quite a lot, right? And it has fast siege. If you buy smart servos, it'll make it so that it sieges up in 1 second. By the way, smart servo also benefits every single one of Mengsk's transformer units. So the Sky Fury from before will benefit from smart servos, so you should buy it. And Black Hammer also benefits from smart servos. And I think, honestly, if you're going for Mengsk aggro bio, the best unit to buy to complement it is the Shock Division. And it's very useful, very helpful to have, because your bio wave is sort of just going to run forward, right? And so you're going to need something to help stack and something to do continuous DPS. And if you don't buy any roll guards, the only roll guard that you should buy is the Shock Division, because it fits most situations quite nicely. That being said, if you're facing an air commander, just don't do it. All right, so now we are at tier 3, and at tier 3 we got the Black Hammer, which is basically just the Sky Sweeper. For 725 minerals, you can clean up half of your opponent's air wave. And for another 725 minerals, you can basically make sure that your opponents can never have air units again. I would say 2 Black Hammers is probably the best, is probably the minimum you will need to control the skies if you're against a commander who has invested heavily in the skies. But if you get up to 4 Black Hammers, things will probably never fly again. So why is that? So Black Hammers can siege up into Overwatch mode. And Overwatch mode is basically just shoots missiles very, very quickly. The missiles don't do a lot of damage, but they do some splash. I think they do like 18 damage per hit. And so they shoot out really quickly from Black Hammer. And so that'll help you dominate an area in the air. Sort of how Liberator sieges up and shoots ground units. A Black Hammer sieges up and shoots air units. Kind of like that. And so level 1 increases the Overwatch mode AoE by 50%, so it just makes it bigger. And then the cast range is increased at level 2. And level 3 is the most critical upgrade because it increases the attack speed by 33%. And once you hit level 3, that's when the Black Hammers start feeling very good, because they'll just start punching everything out of the air. Whether it's a Hyperion, or whether it's just a bunch of Wraiths, right? And so, or even a bunch of Mutalisks. You want to turn off the Black Hammer's standard anti-air weaponry, though, because if you have that on, it will default to use the standard anti-air weaponry instead of Overwatch mode. If you have it turned off, it'll automatically turn to Overwatch mode when it detects an air unit, and it will blast it out of the sky. And yeah, and level 3 Black Hammer, by the way, has 1000 HP, so it's not fragile by any means. It can survive a lot of hits, especially from enemy air units. And if you have Black Hammer plus Rocket Boys together, that is a combination that is guaranteed to help you lock down the sky. So Mengsk doesn't actually need air units. Like, you actually don't need air units. Like, unless you're like against like a bunch of like Hyperions or like Sky Fury, like unless you're a bunch of like Hyperions or battle cruisers or Leviathans, you really don't need the Sky Fury. Black Hammers are enough. But Black Hammers plus Sky Furies will guarantee you that there's nothing that's gonna fly, basically. You also have an upgrade. It's just like, I think it's I don't remember what the name it is, but it's like it's an armored bulwark, I think, and it basically provides the units next to Black Hammer with +3 armor, and it's only your own units. It doesn't benefit your allies. From my experience, I think it's kind of buggy. I don't know if Black Hammer benefits Black Hammer anymore. I think it used to be that 2 Black Hammers next to each other would give each other +3 armor. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but if that is the case, it's pretty good. If that's not the case, it at least gives your Rocket Boys 3 more armor. But Rocket Boys only have 45 HP, so 3 more armor isn't going to make too big of a difference. But honestly, you know, a little bit, like whatever you have counts, right? Like a little bit more helps, right? And yeah. And next, finally, we have the August Grad, which is the memed. So it costs 1,600 minerals. Okay, and it costs that much because it used to be broken. It kind of still is, and that's the reason why it costs 1,600 mils. It costs so much that like you'd be insane to buy it, essentially. At least as the first thing. The reason why is that well, it costs a lot of EXP to level it up, first of all, and what you get for it isn't really that worth it in the long run. Because 1,600 minerals is more than a mothership, right? And Alaris motherships have 2,000 HP. The August Grad, I believe, only goes up to like 1,200 HP, or like it doesn't go up that high. So it's already at an HP disadvantage. It doesn't do as much damage per shot as the mothership. Motherships do like if it's fully upgraded to weapons 3, it does like 50 damage times 6 per shot, so that's like 300 damage. While this thing, I believe, only does, I think, like around, it does less. I think it does like 14 damage per shot with this little baby the baby battle cruiser like beam. Like it doesn't do too much damage. And so most of its power is put in the Yamato cannon. And so level 1, it gains 2 charges of Yamato cannon and tactical jump, but there's a cooldown between when you use it. So I think they put it to be like a 30-second cooldown when you use your first Yamato and when you use your first tactical jump. So you can't use it consecutively. It was broken because you could use the Yamato cannons consecutively before, which just made it too good. But now that there's a cooldown, it's actually more balanced, I would say. I would still say it's kind of strong in the late game, but only in the late game. If you rush this in the early game, like, you're actually going to screw yourself over. Level 2, Yamato cannons deal AoE damage, so it does 300 damage in a small AoE, so kind of like what the Hyperion Yamato does. And level 3, the Yamato fires 3 shots. This is why it's busted, because the Yamato does 300 damage AoE 3 times in like a kind of shotgun like area. So if you click a unit in the middle, it shoots that unit, and then it shoots 2 bolts at units next to it. And so before, when there was no cooldown, you would just buy August Grads and you would blast the enemy wave. And no matter how many units your opponents got, you'd be able to blast all of them out of the sky. And so there was no counterplay. However, now that there is a cooldown on it, you can still blast your enemy's critical units, but if your enemy has enough units, they can still take it down. That being said, I don't recommend you build the August Grad unless it's like late game, like super late game, like it's 20 minutes into the game. It still doesn't look like we know who's going to win yet. Those kind of games, a few August Grads will help you out there. But if it's like 5 minutes into the game and you're like, I'm going to build an August Grad, don't do it. Don't do it. It's not that great. It's nothing to be celebrated. Like, you have an August Grad come out, it's not going to have the same sort of swinging power as a Mothership coming out, or the same sort of swinging power as a Hyperion coming out. Especially because like a Hyperion is heroic, but August Grad can get eaten or like CC'd, or just all sorts of bad things can happen to it, such as getting mind controlled by Tychus. So yeah, don't buy the August Grad unless like it's like a 20-minute game and it's pretty even. All right, so let's talk about the support units. So we have the Intercessor, which is basically just a really fancy medevac. You can get an upgrade for it that lets it heal 2 targets at once, which is really good because Mengsk has a lot of bio units. You can also buy Scatter Veil for it, which just basically gives it 100 more HP and helps it stealth, which is not too bad. I generally don't buy Scatter Veil because I'm just like, I could just get a second medevac for the price of the Scatter Veil, essentially. Although, because like I can also use the medevacs to tank air if I have to, but having Scatter Veil on, it makes it so that, I mean, they survive longer, so they can heal longer, and they might heal your allies' wave as well because they'll stack. So that might be one of the reasons why you would get it. But other than that, I don't really invest in it too much. But dual resuscitators is a must. And there's also a cool interaction between intercessors and shock divisions. If you buy the armament stabilizers upgrade, you can actually pick up a siege tank. If you have one, if you have a shock division, you can pick it up with the intercessor. So what you do is you have your shock division. You have your Intercessor. I believe you click on your Intercessor, and I think there's an option to pick up Siege Tank in like the unit like abilities section. And you can go and pick up your Shock Division, and it will fly into battle with your Shock Division. And your Shock Division can shoot at air units, except I think instead of shooting like once every 2 seconds, it shoots like once every 4 seconds. So its attack speed is halved. And honestly, it's just meme value. I don't think it's really that good. Like you can shoot like enemy carriers with it, but you know what's good against enemy carriers? Sky Furies. You don't really need to have a flying tank, and I believe the flying tank only shoots flying units, which is kind of disappointing. I haven't had the chance to observe it shoot ground units. So yeah. That being said, if your Intercessor has Scatter Veil on it, it automatically uncloaks, so you can't have sneaky flying tanks. But it has an extra 100 HP, so that'll help us stay alive a little bit longer. And additionally, if the Intercessor dies, your tank just falls to the ground, already in siege mode, which is pretty good. Could also be pretty bad if your tank's in a bad spot. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something fun that you can do. I don't know, like, you know, it's like you can do it. You don't have to do it. You could. So yeah. And finally, your last support unit is the Witness. 250 minerals for a detector that also provides a powerful AoE buff that increases your unit's attack speed, and movement speed. So it's definitely good to have at least one of these. Besides the fact that it's a ejector, it also buffs your units. However, it sieges up, so it stops moving. So when it sieges up, it gains a little bit of increased detection range, but it creates some problems, especially if your units are charging forward and just like barreling through your opponent's waves. And there's a bunch of burrowed swarm hosts, and you just can't see them because the witness is just sort of trying to unsiege and move forward. So in that case, buy 2 witnesses. You can have one that is dedicated to sieging up, and you can have the other one, which you can turn off the ability to siege up, and that one will follow your units forward. But yeah, that's basically it. Nothing too special here. And so let's talk about wave placement before we actually get into some gameplay. So here is your very generic Mengsk bio wave placement. I think Mengsk's wave placement is more important than other commanders because of how fragile majority of his units are and how they have to synergize together in a specific way. So in the orange, we have the Lings. So this is your classic Ling box. Honestly, all you need is 1 Zergling, like across like basically the entire place. However, I've seen some players for the sides, they have, instead of just 1 column of Zerglings, they have 2 columns or even 3 columns. So I think if anything, that's probably a decent idea to execute. Just having more columns of Zerglings means that you'll have more Zerglings streaming into the fight as your waves clash. And that'll help distract your opponent's units because they'll attack the Zerglings rather than your main line. And it'll also make sure that there's constantly fodder pushing up to protect your units, your LMG boys that are very fragile, right? And the bulk of your DPS. So Ling box is a must. Red is LMG boys, so I like to put my LMG boys kind of to like in the middle. I guess not really the middle, but like a little bit further back from the Lings, because you want the Lings to engage, and then the LMG boys can pull up and start shooting. You don't want the LMG boys to be too close because then they might get knocked out by splash damage. So you always want to look out for that. And then in the back, in the blue, I have Rocket Boys. This is if you need to place Rocket Boys. You can place them in the back like that. Or you can sort of place them to the left and the right and keep the middle empty based on if you want to split up your opponent's AoE, especially for fighting Banshees that have AoE attacks. So yeah, you can split them up like that. That blue line could also just be another line of LMG Boys if you just want to have more LMG Boys. Because like the first line will die. Second line will pull up and they will start shooting, and so they'll replace the first line. And then next, in yellow circles are tanks, or the shock divisions. I sort of have them in the corners because that helps them siege up on both sides, because with fast siege, they'll siege up almost instantly, and they'll start dropping that DPS, right? And after that close, they'll siege up quick, they'll start dropping DPS, your boys will move in, they'll start shooting, right? Your opponent's wave will most likely push in the middle and kill off your boys first, and then move to kill your tanks. So your tanks will have optimal shooting time. As well, being off to the sides, they're not clumped together, which means your opponents can't just like barrel down the middle and kill all your tanks if they're in the middle. They have to split off to both sides, which will distract them, and will also help your tanks stay alive longer, especially if one side is being under attack and the other side can support the other side by shooting at them, right? Green circles is where you want to kind of put your Ultralisk, approximately. There's about that much space for that many Ultralisks. And your red triangles are your flame boys, which you have just 1 spot to be able to put in between, which is sort of like why I have them right there. And then I'll show you guys better when we actually get into some gameplay. And yeah, that's like sort of your really, really generic aggro ground bio wave. If you need to build intercessors, I would suggest that you just put them on top of your boys. Your witness, you can sort of put it in the middle. I like to put it in like a front center position, so that it sort of pulls up with the wave and then sieges up as our units start shooting. Black hammers, I would actually put where the boys are, although you could also put it in the middle area, right behind the LMG boys, rather than behind the rocket boys. And yeah, like placement. Besides this, like there's nothing else you got to worry about for placement. Like this is like how you should try and place your waves for most matchups, and yeah, and especially for a Tychus matchup. This is what you want, and you want tanks exclusively. So let's get into some gameplay to showcase what I've been talking about, because I've been yapping for a long time. Let's do it. Alright, and we are back. Let's get right to it. So, I'm playing here on some heroic commanders, just so we can get a nice, juicy, and long game for you guys here. So I'm going to pop down that beautiful Ling box here. Don't mind that one Ling. That one Ling has been misplaced here. So, with your classic opener, I'm in the last position here, so I have a more breathing room. in terms of just being able to put down more units. Oh, we got some lag coming in here. That's okay. I'm going to put down a missile turret here. So Mengsk's defensive structures is a missile turret and a supply bunker. And you can buy an upgrade for these buildings to increase their HP. So this one will make it so that my missile turret has, I believe, like 450 HP. So it's pretty good here. So because I'm in the last position here, which I rarely am ever, I'm going to put down some LMG boys here because this will be really useful to back up my Lings. And they'll be the real hardcore DPS at the end of the day. So what do I have here? I have a Stepman and I have an Abathur ally. Okay. You know what? I could probably put down some more boys here. Maybe give this guy an LMG here. There we go. Did he get an LMG? Yes, there we go. There he did. Okay. So it looks like we have a... What are these? Oh, I'm against Phoenix. Okay, interesting. So I'm just going to upgrade the minion weapons here. Against Phoenix, I'm pretty sure I can just fry him with a bunch of LMG boys and Sky Furies, because Sky Furies will counter Colossus. Look at that, LMG boys here. The Lings are just, you just surround and you just dominate. You just surround and you dominate. There's no contest here. And it looks like there's double Phoenix and a Rainer. I think Rainer is in the first position. No, he's in the middle position. Okay, so it's Phoenix, Rainer, Phoenix. Alright. Alright. There we go. I kind of want to gas aggressively here, but my allies here haven't put anything out. I mean, I guess. So it's fine to hold on to your guys here for now. But I feel like what I'm going to encounter is Praetor Phoenix. So Praetor Phoenix is just going to spin on my guys here, which will be very effective, but it's still going to be okay. I'll put this over here. And right now I just have the boys in an estimate position, where I think if you want to have a look here, you want to have your tanks here, here, and you want to have your Ultralisk here, and then, yeah, so I'm gonna have to move my boys back a little bit. You want to move this Zergling back here, because you want to be able to... Oh, okay, they got their shield fields out. Uh-oh. That's actually going to help them stay alive a little bit longer, but not enough. That's not going to be enough here. So I think I'm going to start going to tier 2 here, actually. Actually, is that a little too aggressive? I think it might be a little too aggressive, because okay, Stepman has a lurker here. So I think I gotta complement Stepman's wave here. With some more Lings. There we go. I need to add some more DPS on my boys here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so boys. I'm gonna move them back here. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Right here, right here, right here, right here. And I think you're wondering, why am I not getting Flame Boys? And that is a great question. Why am I not getting Flame Boys? Well, it's because this is a bad choice. Don't worry about it, guys. It's fine. Just raw DPS is going to be good enough here. And it looks like we're going to need a scan. Scan, please. We're going to need a scan here. Oh, no, that is bad. Like, Flame Boys would actually absolutely annihilate these Zealots here. And you know what? It's fine. My Lings here are just going to dominate here. My allies, however, are not in the mood to scan, I think. At least Stepman isn't. So Rainer here just going straight for those Banshees. And I'm going to go for the tier 2 here because I'm going to need that scan. And I should probably also grab some Flame Boys because Flame Boys will absolutely annihilate those Zealots here. Actually, you know what? The Legionaries might stand a better chance because they just have more HP to just use. So yeah. But I'm still going to try and get a few Flame Boys. So if you're going to have a tank here, you want to have a Flame Boy here. You want to have a Flame Boy here. You want to have a Flame Boy here. Like that. But I should probably get my Flame Boys equipped first. There we go. Just so at least I have some Flame Boys out in the field. There we go. And then I'm going to set them out here. And, oh my god, can this guy scan, please? Oh no. Okay, so Rainer is understandably going to go air here. And I don't think I will be able to scan in time. Which is going to suck a lot. Because all my boys here are just going to die here. And you can see how vulnerable the boys are. This is why you can't rely on the allies here. So there we go. I'm going to put this down here. And then I'm going to grab an Imperial Witness here. Against Rainer, I'm probably going to want a group of Black Hammers at some point. But having some Rocket Boys is not going to be too bad. So now the bunker here, you can actually equip with the Rocket Boys. And it's going to become the best anti-air thing you ever build. Look at that range. Look at that range. That range is absolutely ridiculous. And this is a missile turn, basically. I think I'm just going to go for some more rockets here. There we go. Let's see now. In this position here, what am I going to do here? I think what I want is actually some Rocket Boys. But I think I'm going to be a little too slow here to build them. So, Against Banshees, you want to build the Rocket Boys a little bit off to the side, kind of like this. I should be able to have vision here. There we go. Uh-oh, they're shooting Caldalis here. Oh my god, Rainer just has exclusive. You know what? I don't think Rocket Boys are enough. I need to go Black Hammers. There we go. We're gonna have to go Black Hammers here. We are gonna need them Black Hammers here. Luckily, I have the anti-air here. Yeah, because they only do 9 damage to just unarmored air. It's not that great of a choice. I should probably get Smart Aim Assist and Neosteel is fortified, because my bunker is the only thing that's standing in the way between certain death here. And then we go. Yeah, I'm going to need an army of Black Hammers to deal with that. And Phoenix, honestly, I can handle quite nicely, so I'm not really too scared of Phoenix. So yeah, Phoenix doesn't really have too great of an... Like, I don't think he has a real answer against Mengsk here. But I'm going to need some Black Hammers out, and I'm going to need them ASAP. The Queens are not going to be good enough here. That's going to really suck. A lot. Let's see. Okay. LMG boys, as you can see, their fragility here, they're about to get taken out, but, you know, that's fine. Black Hammers will be coming up soon, and as soon as I get Black Hammers, it's basically going to be game over here for Rainer's wave. Yeah. I mean, Caldalis here is going to do quite a decent job here, just shredding the stuff. My Stemman ally here is going for lots of Hydralisk, I suppose, even though he's not facing anything that is Hydro. I mean, actually he's facing a bunch of scouts, so I guess I think Corruptors would actually do better against the scouts, honestly. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here, Black Hammer, boom, level him up, cost 2,000 XP level up, and I'm going to get Smart Servals, and we've got the Bulwark Field. Probably going to get Smart Servals first. I think I might actually want to put the Black Hammer over here. There we go. Smart Servals allow Black Hammer to transform really quickly. I forgot to turn off his anti-air here, so I have to turn him off over here. There we go. And he should start dominating these Banshees. And there's a Battlecruiser, which tells me he's probably going for Hyperion of some sort. And there we go. Boom, 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 boom. And there it goes. And just like that. Okay, he's trying to blink back here. Boom, 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 boom. So it doesn't do too well against a large air unit like a Battlecruiser. But Black Hammer is quite thick. And he can take a lot of punishment here. He took a lot of hits from those Legionaries before going down. Okay, so now then. I have that one Black Hammer here. Should take care of some things. Now, I will need some Flame Boys right now. And I also will want some tanks at some point. At some point. But it looks like we're getting pushed in quite hard here. My Abathur ally here is doing something. Doing something, I guess. Lurkers over here. Does he have detection though? Oh, he does. He does. I'm expecting a Hyperion to come out soon because there's a Battlecruiser here, and Battlecruisers get hard countered by Devourers because of their high base armor. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried. Uh-oh. Ooh. I think I need to have a second line of LMG boys here because most of my LMG boys are getting shredded here. Black Hammer here just gonna go off. Hopefully shoot at Phoenix here. Gonna knock this thing out. There we go. I'm gonna need some tanks here though, because I need to get rid of Taldarin here. Taldarin is just a little too strong. But I also want to have a Sky Fury at some point to deal with Hyperion that is inevitably going to coming out here. As you can see here, Mengsk can deal very well with basically everything, but only given time though. Given time. And my allies are not offering enough time, I would say. So actually, I think I actually want to put Black Hammer front and center. Because it seems like my LG boys are getting focused down a little bit too quickly. So, oh, this guy is interestingly building a bunch of Battlecruisers. And, I mean, this Battlecruiser is going to not have a good time against this Tier 3 Devourer here. I can tell you that much. Tier 3 Devourer is not going to take anything. Look at that. They're going to fly right into here. Banshees are going to murder most of my LMG boys here, and I think yeah, I don't have enough DPS here on the ground. I think that's what's the issue. Like Black Hammer himself has decent DPS, and yeah, he does 80 damage per shot, so it's nothing to be messing around with. But as soon as I get the Shock Division here, I think that's going to start changing. It's going to critically change what's going to be happening on the ground here. And I think I probably want to have a second line of boys, to be honest, just like another line of sacrificial lambs. Because at the end of the day, that's what the boys are. You just send them in, they die, they do some DPS, and that's just another day of playing Mengsk. There we go, let's put down another one here. Trying to complete my ling blocks over here. There we go, boom, boom. I'm gonna see if this one tank here makes a difference, but Raynor building so many battlecruisers is also a very terrible decision, especially against Abathur. You should be building Vikings to contest the Devourers. Because honestly, Abathur's Devourers will shred through battlecruisers as if they're nothing, and the battlecruisers also don't do too much damage to them either, so not too scary. I'm gonna upgrade their weapons. As Mengsk, you kind of just want to upgrade your weapons. You don't really need armor, because armor only benefits your Ultralisk, really, because everything else you have just has too little HP to really benefit from it. Okay, there we go. Ooh, there's a mosquito in my face. There we go. So this one tank here has 2 kills, but he's going to constantly rack up kills. As you can see here, all I have is 1 Black Hammer, and I'm already keeping the air under control. Right? Imagine what 2 Black Hammers can do. 3 Black Hammers, 4 Black Hammers. What I'm saying is, Black Hammer is very strong, and he's definitely worth how much you pay for him. And this one tank here is also very strong. As you can see here, I'm shelling the cannon here, and there it is. There goes the cannon. Cannon just got shelled to pieces. And that's how you play Mengsk, boys. You gotta have the boys to protect your Royal Guard. I only have 3 Royal Guards as it stands, but already they have been doing like mountains of work here. So yeah. Flame Boys here. I'll probably buy some Ultralisk here to just, help out, but I don't think I need Ultralisk at this point. They're just going to be cannon fodder against the Immortals here. And look at that. I still have some LMG Boys that are alive here. And at this point, I should probably get some more LMG Boys, to be honest. And look at that. Black Hammer here is just smashing these scouts here. My tank here is going to be shooting at the ground units here. Black Hammer's getting swarmed, but that's okay. He's dominating the scouts here despite getting swarmed, and he's going to go down. Actually, no. He's still up. He's got 6 armor. Look at that. Black Hammer is he's just so thick. He's so thick, guys. Like this is why Mengsk is super strong, guys. And there's the Hyperion. And you know what I'm gonna do to the Hyperion? I'm gonna introduce it to my good friends, the Sky Fury. Because the Sky Fury is gonna take down the Hyperion like it's nothing. Boom, there we go. And look at that. Sky Fury rank 3. And look at that damage. 124 damage against Massive, and it hits twice. That's 240 damage. And so Hyperion is not going to stand a chance. So as you can see here, Raynor actually struggles a lot against Mengsk, if you have not noticed yet. Because Mengsk basically counters most of what Raynor can do. I gotta make sure the Sky Fury goes after the Hyperion, though. There we go. There we go. There we go. It's going to 2 or 3 shot the Hyperion. I'm going to buy 2 Sky Furies just to be sure. Sky Furies aren't actually that great against enemy air units because it doesn't really do too much damage. Although they have quite a bit of health, the 480 health here, with the 40% bonus health, basically. And yeah, like, Hyperion is going to go down here. Just to make sure that Hyperion goes down for sure, though, I'm going to put down another Sky Fury, and then that's going to be the nail in the coffin here. Like, I have maybe a Sky Fury here? Yeah, my Sky Fury is still here, and it's hitting the Hyperion. Black Hammer is not that great into Hyperion, but it's still quite strong. And Sky Fury here has taken down the Battlecruiser. It's going to start taking down Hyperion. Look at that. Hyperion's just getting chunked here. There we go. Hyperion is down. And guess what? The Sky Fury is still full health. So yeah. This is how you dominate as Mengsk. It's just relentless domination here. Like, you can see how adaptable my wave is. My wave has just been built to counter all 3 of my opponent's waves. And there's not really anything my opponents can do about it at this point. They're just trying to hang in there for dear life here. Legionaries just aren't going to do too well. Although, LMG boys are going to destroy these Immortals here quite nicely here. My tanks are going to clean up, clean house. I pay 10% attention. I definitely noticed that, that's for sure. My Sky Fury here is here. Tend, mend, push. Oh my god, Abathur has just been mending this entire time. No wonder. That explains a lot. Now, I think my Sky Furies are dead, though, but my tanks are still shooting the base. And there we go, boys. This is how you win as Mengsk. I think Mengsk is probably one of the most powerful heroes, commanders in the game. If you guys don't get, like, almost top damage, then you're doing something wrong here. Let's just have a look at our damage output. I don't know if I actually dealt a lot of damage. I feel like I probably did, because I don't think Stepman's or Abathur's waves are high DPS, but let's have a look here. Look at that. Look at that DPS. 73k. 73k damage, okay? Damage output, immaculate. I've had lots of games where I just do more damage to my entire team as Mengsk, and it's totally normal. It's totally normal. Like LMG boys do so much DPS. Every single thing you have does a lot of damage. Like this guy has 73 kills to himself, 19 kills, 10 kills. I mean the tanks came in a little bit late, but let's have a look at these guys here. Flame boys here they have a decent amount of kills. Like they've got 1 and 2. But let's see, LMG boys probably have like around average of 5 kills. 6 kills on this guy, 4 kills, 4 kills. What about this guy? 3 kills. Okay, maybe average is closer to like, oh, this guy's 7 kills. Okay, 6 kills, 4 kills. Yeah, so LMG boys also carry their weight quite nicely in terms of damage dealt here. We've got 8 kills on this guy, 2 kills on this guy. So yeah, nothing else to say, but this is how you do it on Mengsk, boys. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like. Look at that mineral value killed, 55k. I basically killed like more than my teammates together combined. And yeah. This is the power of Mengsk. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. I hope you guys can take your Mengsk game to the next level. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.